The baby monitor showed someone standing in the nursery. Emma never believed in ghosts, even after moving with her husband, Noah, and their 6-month-old daughter, Lily, into an old farmhouse far away from the city. She always laughed at scary stories. "It's just an old house," she would say whenever the wooden floors creaked at night. For the first few weeks, everything felt normal. Quiet, peaceful, until the baby monitor started making strange noises. At first it was only static, soft crackling sounds during the middle of the night. Emma assumed it was because of the bad signal in the countryside. But then Lily started waking up every night at exactly 3:13 a.m., always crying, always staring at the same corner of the nursery. One night, exhausted from lack of sleep, Emma grabbed the baby monitor from her nightstand while Noah slept beside her. The screen showed Lily standing inside her crib. Emma immediately frowned. Lily had never stood up before. But that wasn't what terrified her. There was someone else in the room, a tall, dark figure standing motionless beside the crib. Emma's heart nearly stopped. The image was blurry and distorted, but she could clearly see the silhouette staring down at Lily. Long arms, thin body, head slightly tilted. Emma jumped out of bed instantly. "Noah!" she screamed. He woke up startled as Emma ran toward the nursery. The hallway felt colder than usual. By the time she reached the nursery door, her hands were shaking violently. Emma pushed the door open. The room was empty. No intruder. No shadow, only Lily crying inside the crib. Emma quickly picked her up, trying to calm her racing heartbeat. Then the baby monitor crackled loudly in her hand. Static filled the speaker, and a woman's voice whispered softly, "She sees me now." Emma froze completely. The whisper echoed through the baby monitor speaker before dissolving, back into static. Her entire body felt cold. "Noah," she whispered weakly. He hurried into the nursery behind her, still half asleep. What happened? Emma slowly turned the monitor toward him with trembling hands. "I heard someone." Noah frowned and took the monitor carefully. The screen now showed only Lily's crib and the dark, empty nursery around it. "No figure, no movement, nothing. You're exhausted," Noah said softly. "You probably imagined it." But Emma knew she hadn't. That voice sounded real, too real. She barely slept for the rest of the night. The next morning, Noah left early to buy groceries in town while Emma stayed home with Lily. Rain poured heavily outside. The old farmhouse creaked constantly beneath the storm. Emma tried distracting herself by cleaning the kitchen, but she couldn't stop glancing toward the baby monitor sitting on the counter. At exactly 3:13 p.m., the monitor suddenly crackled again. Emma froze. Static filled the speaker for several seconds. Then Lily started crying upstairs. Emma immediately grabbed the monitor. The screen showed Lily standing in her crib again. And behind her, the figure was back, closer this time, standing directly beside the crib. Emma's heart pounded violently as she stared at the screen. The figure slowly lifted one long arm, pointing toward the hallway outside the nursery. Then the monitor went black. Emma ran upstairs immediately. Her heart pounded so hard she could barely breathe as she rushed down the hallway toward the nursery. "Lily!" she shouted. The nursery door was slightly open. Emma pushed it carefully. The room was empty again. Only Lily stood inside the crib crying hysterically. Emma grabbed her quickly and looked around the room in panic. Nobody there, no shadow, no sign that anyone had entered the house. But then Emma noticed something strange. The nursery window was open. Cold rain blew softly through the curtains. Emma frowned immediately. She clearly remembered closing that window earlier. A chill ran down her spine. She walked toward it slowly while holding Lily tightly against her chest. That's when she saw the muddy footprints. Large footprints, wet, fresh, leading from the window to the hallway outside the nursery. Emma's breathing became uneven. Someone had been inside the house. She quickly locked every door and window downstairs while trying not to panic. Then she called Noah. He answered almost immediately. "Emma? There's someone in the house," she whispered. "What?" "I found footprints upstairs." There was silence for a moment. Then Noah spoke again, his voice suddenly tense. "Listen to me carefully. Take Lily and leave the house right now." Emma froze. "What?" "Go to the car and lock the doors. I'm coming home." Before Emma could answer, the baby monitor crackled loudly behind her again. Static filled the kitchen. Then the same woman's voice whispered, "He knows I'm here." Emma grabbed Lily tightly and backed away from the baby monitor. Her hands trembled so badly, she almost dropped her phone while trying to call the police. But before she could dial, every light in the house suddenly went out. Darkness swallowed everything. Emma froze. Only the sound of rain hitting the windows filled the silence. Then came a slow creaking noise upstairs. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate. Emma's pulse pounded in her ears. Someone was walking through the second floor. She immediately rushed toward the front door while holding Lily close against her chest. But the door wouldn't open. Emma pulled harder. Locked. Her stomach dropped. She had unlocked it moments ago. Then she heard it. A soft humming sound upstairs. A woman humming slowly, the same melody repeating over and over again. Lily suddenly stopped crying. Completely silent now. Emma looked down nervously. The baby was staring toward the staircase. Smiling. No, Emma whispered. The humming grew louder. Closer. Then the baby monitor turned on by itself on the kitchen counter. The screen flickered through static for a few seconds before the image appeared again. The nursery, empty, except for the rocking chair moving slowly by itself. Back and forth, back and forth. Emma stared at the screen in horror. Then the chair suddenly stopped moving, and someone slowly stood up from it. Emma couldn't move. The figure on the baby monitor stood completely still beside the crib. Tall, thin, its face hidden in darkness. The screen crackled violently as static lines distorted the image. Then the figure slowly turned toward the camera. Emma's breathing stopped. The face wasn't clear, but she could make out pale skin and dark, hollow eyes staring directly into the monitor. Lily suddenly began laughing softly in Emma's arms. A cold wave spread through Emma's entire body. "Noah, where are you?" she whispered desperately. Her phone buzzed. "Incoming call, Noah," Emma answered immediately. "Emma, get out of the house right now." "I can't. The door won't open." There was silence on the other end for a second. Then Noah spoke again, his voice filled with panic. "Listen to me carefully. Don't go upstairs." Emma's stomach twisted. "What are you talking about?" But before Noah could answer, a loud bang echoed from the second floor. Then another, and another, like someone slamming doors violently upstairs. Lily started crying again. The baby monitor screeched loudly, and through the static, the woman's voice whispered once more. "She wants the baby." Emma backed away from the kitchen counter, clutching Lily tightly against her chest. "What do you mean she wants the baby?" Emma shouted into the phone. Noah sounded terrified. "Emma, just listen to me. Leave the house now. I told you I can't." Another loud bang shook the ceiling upstairs. The footsteps started again. Slow, heavy, moving across the second floor directly above her. Emma's breathing became uneven. Then suddenly, the front door creaked open by itself. Emma froze. Cold wind rushed into the house as rain poured outside. For a second, everything became completely silent. The footsteps upstairs stopped. The humming stopped. Even the static from the monitor disappeared. It felt wrong. Too quiet. Emma slowly stepped toward the open doorway. Then Lily looked up toward the staircase, behind her, and started screaming, hysterically. Emma turned instinctively. Someone was standing at the top of the stairs. A woman, tall and unnaturally thin, long dark hair covering most of her face, one pale hand gripping the wooden railing tightly. Emma couldn't breathe. The woman slowly tilted her head sideways. Then in a soft, broken voice she whispered, "Give her back." Emma screamed and stumbled backward toward the open front door. Rain and cold wind rushed into the house around her, but she barely noticed. The woman at the top of the stairs began moving slowly downward. Step, step, step. Her movements looked wrong. Too stiff, like her body wasn't bending correctly. Emma tightened her grip on Lily while Noah shouted through the phone, "Run, Emma!" The woman suddenly stopped halfway down the stairs. Long strands of wet black hair hung over her face as she stared silently at Lily. Then the baby monitor crackled loudly behind Emma again. Its screen flickered on by itself. Emma looked at it instinctively and nearly collapsed from fear. The monitor was no longer showing the nursery. It was showing the kitchen, showing her, a live image, but in the monitor feed, the woman wasn't standing on the stairs anymore. She was directly behind Emma. Emma slowly turned around. Nobody there. Her entire body shook violently. Then the image on the monitor changed again. The woman slowly lifted one long finger toward Emma on the screen, pointing at Lily, and in a voice filled with anger and grief she whispered, That's my daughter. Emma's blood ran cold. No, she whispered. The woman on the stairs let out a soft, broken sob. Rainwater dripped from her, long hair onto the wooden steps. As she slowly continued descending, Noah's voice echoed desperately through the phone. Emma, get in the car, now! Emma finally forced herself to move. She ran out of the house and into the storm while holding Lily tightly against her chest. The cold rain hit her instantly. She rushed toward the car parked beside the farmhouse, fumbling for her keys with shaking hands. Behind her, the front door creaked open wider. Emma turned instinctively. The woman was now standing in the doorway, completely motionless, watching them. Lightning flashed across the sky for a split second, illuminating her face clearly for the first time. Emma froze in horror. The woman looked exactly like her. Same eyes, same mouth, same face, only older, paler, broken. Emma stumbled backward in shock. That's impossible. Then the woman whispered something so quietly Emma almost didn't hear it. He lied to you. Emma quickly locked herself inside the car and pulled Lily against her chest while trying to breathe. Rain slammed violently against the windows. Her hands shook so badly she nearly dropped the phone. Noah, she whispered. She looks like me. There was silence on the other end. Too much silence. Emma's stomach twisted painfully. Noah. When he finally spoke, his voice sounded weak. Drive to the motel near the highway. Don't stop anywhere else. I'll meet you there. What's happening? But before he could answer, the call suddenly cut off. Emma stared at the phone screen in panic. No signal. The storm outside intensified. Then the baby monitor crackled again from the passenger seat. Emma slowly turned toward it. The screen showed the inside of the car. A live feed. Emma holding Lily. Rain outside the windows. But something was wrong. In the monitor image, someone sat in the back seat. A woman with wet black hair covering her face. Emma spun around instantly. The back seat was empty. Her breathing became uneven. Then the woman in the monitor slowly lifted her head, and Emma saw her own face staring back at her again. Tears streamed down the woman's pale cheeks as she whispered, "He took her from me, too." Emma dropped the baby monitor onto the passenger seat and started the car immediately. The engine struggled for a second before finally turning on. Rain blurred the windshield so badly she could barely see the road ahead. Her heart pounded violently as she drove away from the farmhouse. But even after several minutes, she couldn't stop shaking. The woman's words echoed endlessly inside her mind. He took her from me, too. Emma looked at Lily sleeping quietly in the backseat mirror. What does that mean? She whispered. Suddenly, headlights appeared behind her, a car following closely through the storm. Emma's stomach tightened. At first she assumed it was Noah, but then the car flashed its headlights repeatedly, too aggressively. Something felt wrong. Emma pressed harder on the gas pedal. The car behind her accelerated too. Panic flooded her chest. Then the baby monitor crackled once more. Emma looked down instinctively. The screen showed the road behind her car, the vehicle following her, and sitting in the driver's seat was Noah. Emma froze, but when she looked into her real rearview mirror, the driver's face was impossible to see through the rain. The monitor speaker hissed softly. Then the woman whispered, "That's not your husband." Emma's hands tightened around the steering wheel. Her breathing became shallow and uneven as the headlights behind her grew closer. "What do you mean that's not my husband?" she whispered. The baby monitor crackled softly but gave no answer. Rain hammered against the car while thunder shook the sky overhead. Emma looked quickly at her phone again. Still no signal. The car behind her suddenly swerved slightly into the opposite lane before falling back into place. Its headlights flashed again. Once, twice. Then the horn blared loudly. Emma flinched. Something felt horribly wrong. She looked down at the monitor again. This time the image had changed. The screen now showed Noah standing inside the farmhouse kitchen, covered in blood, banging desperately on the windows. Emma's heart nearly stopped. "Noah?" Monitor Noah looked directly into the camera and screamed silently for help. Then a pale hand suddenly grabbed him from the darkness behind. The screen cut to static. Emma nearly lost control of the car. At that exact moment, the vehicle behind her accelerated violently. Its headlights flooded the inside of Emma's car. And then, slam, the car crashed into her rear bumper. Emma screamed as the steering wheel jerked violently in her hands. The car swerved across the wet road. Lily woke up crying hysterically in the back seat. Another slam hit the rear of the car, harder this time. Emma fought desperately to keep control, while rain blinded the windshield. "What do you want from me?" she cried. The headlights behind her stayed dangerously close. Then the baby monitor flickered again. The screen now showed the inside of the car following her. Emma's blood froze. The driver wasn't Noah. It was the woman. The one from the farmhouse. Her pale fingers gripped the steering wheel, tightly while wet hair covered half her face. But what terrified Emma most was the passenger seat. Noah was sitting there, bleeding, terrified. He looked directly into the monitor camera and mouthed 2 words. "She knows." The woman suddenly smiled. Then she rammed Emma's car again. The tires lost traction instantly. Emma's car spun violently across the road. Everything became a blur of headlights, rain, and screaming metal. Then darkness. Emma slowly opened her eyes. Pain exploded through her entire body. For several seconds, she couldn't understand where she was. Rain still poured outside. The car had crashed into a ditch beside the road. Smoke drifted from the damaged hood. Emma gasped suddenly. "Lily!" She turned toward the back seat in panic. Lily was still strapped into the car seat, crying loudly. Relief hit Emma so hard she nearly broke down sobbing. Then she noticed the passenger door hanging open. Cold fear spread through her chest instantly. Someone had opened it. Emma grabbed Lily quickly and stumbled out of the wrecked car into the storm. The road around her was completely empty. No headlights. No other vehicle. Nothing. Only darkness and heavy rain. Emma backed away slowly while holding Lily close. Then she saw footprints in the mud. Bare footprints. Leading into the forest beside the road. Her breathing became uneven, and beside the footprints was Noah's phone. Emma picked up the phone with trembling hands. The screen was cracked, covered in rainwater and mud, but it was definitely Noah's. Her stomach twisted painfully. "Noah?" she called weakly into the darkness. No answer. Only the sound of rain and distant thunder. Lily whimpered softly against her chest. Emma looked again toward the forest. The footprints disappeared between the trees. She knew she should stay by the road. Wait for help! But deep down, she already knew something terrible had happened to Noah. Then Noah's phone suddenly vibrated in her hand. Emma nearly dropped it. Incoming video message. Unknown number. With shaking fingers, she pressed play. The screen showed Noah tied to a chair inside a dark room, bruised, bleeding, terrified. "Emma," he whispered weakly. The camera moved slightly, and standing behind him was the woman, her pale face half hidden by wet black hair. She slowly leaned closer to Noah's ear, then whispered softly, "Tell her the truth." Noah broke down crying. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Emma's chest tightened painfully. "Sorry for what?" Noah looked directly into the camera, and in a trembling voice he said, "Lily isn't ours." Emma slowly opened her eyes. Pain exploded through her entire body. For several seconds, she couldn't understand where she was. Rain still poured outside. The car had crashed into a ditch beside the road. Smoke drifted from the damaged hood. Emma gasped suddenly. "Lily!" She turned toward the back seat in panic. Lily was still strapped into the car seat, crying loudly. Relief hit Emma so hard she nearly broke down sobbing. Then she noticed the passenger door hanging open. Cold fear spread through her chest instantly. Someone had opened it. Emma grabbed Lily quickly and stumbled out of the wrecked car into the storm. The road around her was completely empty. No headlights. No other vehicle. Nothing. Only darkness and heavy rain. Emma backed away slowly while holding Lily close. Then she saw footprints in the mud. Bare footprints. Leading into the forest beside the road. Her breathing became uneven, and beside the footprints was Noah's phone. Emma picked up the phone with trembling hands. The screen was cracked, covered in rainwater and mud, but it was definitely Noah's. Her stomach twisted painfully. "Noah?" she called weakly into the darkness. No answer. Only the sound of rain and distant thunder. Lily whimpered softly against her chest. Emma looked again toward the forest. The footprints disappeared between the trees. She knew she should stay by the road. Wait for help! But deep down, she already knew something terrible had happened to Noah. Then Noah's phone suddenly vibrated in her hand. Emma nearly dropped it. Incoming video message. Unknown number. With shaking fingers, she pressed play. The screen showed Noah tied to a chair inside a dark room, bruised, bleeding, terrified. "Emma," he whispered weakly. The camera moved slightly, and standing behind him was the woman. Her pale face half hidden by wet black hair, she slowly leaned closer to Noah's ear, then whispered softly, "Tell her the truth." Noah broke down crying. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Emma's chest tightened painfully. "Sorry for what?" Noah looked directly into the camera, and in a trembling voice he said, "Lily isn't ours." Emma felt the world stop around her. Rain poured heavily over her as she stared at the screen in disbelief. "No," she whispered weakly. Lily cried softly against her chest. Noah's face twisted with guilt and fear. "I didn't know what else to do," he said through tears. Emma's breathing became uneven. "What are you talking about?" Before Noah could answer, the woman slowly placed one pale hand on his shoulder. Her dark eyes stared directly into the camera, filled with hatred, filled with grief. "She stole my baby," the woman whispered. Emma shook her head desperately. No, that's impossible." But deep down, terror was already spreading through her chest. Because Lily looked nothing like Noah. And over the past few months, Emma herself had started noticing strange things too. The woman on the screen slowly stepped closer to the camera. Rainwater dripped from her hair. Then she whispered softly, "Ask him what happened at the hospital." Emma stared at the screen while her hands trembled violently. "Noah," she whispered, "what happened at the hospital?" He closed his eyes tightly like he already knew this moment would eventually come. "When you gave birth," his voice cracked. "Our baby died." Emma stopped breathing. The world around her suddenly felt distant, unreal. "No, you lost too much blood. The doctors sedated you before they could tell you." Emma shook her head desperately. "That's not true." Noah started crying harder. "I couldn't lose both of you." The woman behind him stared silently into the camera. Emma's heart pounded painfully inside her chest. "Noah, what did you do?" He looked down in shame. "There was another baby in the nursery." Emma felt sick instantly. "No." The nurses were distracted during the storm. "I took her," Lily whimpered softly in Emma's arms as thunder exploded overhead. Emma nearly collapsed. "You kidnapped her?" Noah covered his face while sobbing. "I told myself I was saving our family." The woman suddenly leaned close to the camera again. And for the first time, Emma noticed the scars around her neck. Deep scars, like seatbelt marks after a violent crash. Then the woman whispered, "He killed us that night." Emma's blood ran cold. "What?" The woman's dark eyes filled with tears as rainwater dripped slowly from her pale face. "There was an accident," she whispered. Noah shook his head violently. "Don't listen to her." But the woman kept speaking. "We were driving home from the hospital during the storm." Emma's breathing became shallow. The pieces inside her mind slowly began fitting together. "The truck hit us from the side," the woman continued softly. "I survived." Noah suddenly screamed, "Stop!" The woman ignored him completely. "My husband died instantly." She slowly looked down at Lily. "And my baby disappeared." Emma's hands trembled so badly she almost lost her grip on Lily. "Noah," she whispered weakly. Tears streamed down his face. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." The woman's expression darkened. "You left me there to die." Emma felt sick. Thunder shook the sky overhead while the video crackled violently. Then the woman leaned closer to the camera one final time and whispered something that made Emma's heart stop completely. "I've been dead for 3 years." Emma froze completely. The rain, the road, the forest around her. Everything suddenly felt ice cold. "No," she whispered. Her eyes locked onto the woman on the phone screen. "Dead, 3 years dead." That was impossible. But before Emma could speak again, the video suddenly distorted. Static flooded the screen. Then the image changed. Emma's stomach dropped instantly. The camera now showed the wrecked car behind her. A live image. Emma standing beside the road holding Lily, her own terrified face staring back at her. Slowly, the camera angle widened, and Emma saw someone standing directly behind her in the darkness between the trees. The woman. Emma spun around instantly. Nobody there. Her heart pounded violently. Then Lily started crying uncontrollably in her arms. Emma looked back at the phone screen. The woman in the live feed slowly reached one pale hand toward Emma's shoulder from behind. Closer, closer. Then the whisper came again through the speaker. "Give me back my daughter." Emma dropped the phone into the mud and ran. She sprinted toward the road while clutching Lily tightly against her chest. Rain soaked her clothes instantly. Her breathing became frantic. Behind her, branches cracked deep inside the forest. Something was following her. Emma didn't dare look back. The storm grew worse with every second. Thunder shook the sky while headlights suddenly appeared far down the road ahead. A car. Emma nearly cried with relief. She waved desperately while running toward it. "Help!" The vehicle slowed. An older man sat behind the wheel. The moment he saw Emma holding the baby, his expression changed completely. Fear. Real fear. He quickly unlocked the passenger door. "Get in!" Emma climbed inside immediately, shaking violently. "Please drive." The man sped away without another word. For several seconds neither of them spoke. Then the man glanced nervously at Lily in the back seat. And his face turned pale. "Oh, God." Emma frowned. "What?" The man tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "I know that baby." Emma's stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" The man looked at her carefully. "You're Noah Harper's wife, aren't you?" Emma froze. "Yes." The man swallowed hard. 3 years ago, this entire county heard about the accident. The storm, the missing child, the dead woman. Emma felt cold all over again. Then the man whispered, "But they never found Noah's body either." Emma stared at the man in disbelief. "What?" The windshield wipers moved frantically against the heavy rain while the old man kept his eyes fixed on the road. "They said Noah disappeared after the crash," he continued quietly. "Police searched the woods for weeks." Emma's breathing became uneven. "That's impossible. I've been living with him for years." The man slowly shook his head. "Then who have you been living with?" A cold wave spread through Emma's entire body. No, you're wrong. But deep inside, fear was already consuming her, because strange things about Noah suddenly came rushing back into her mind. No official records, no family visits, no photographs from before they met. And every time Emma asked about his past, he always changed the subject. Lily suddenly began crying loudly again in the back seat. The old man glanced nervously at the rearview mirror. Then his face went completely pale. "Stop the car," he whispered. Emma frowned. "What?" "Stop the car!" The man slammed on the brakes violently. The truck skidded across the wet road before stopping completely. Emma looked toward the back seat and felt her blood turn to ice. Noah was sitting beside Lily. Emma couldn't breathe. Rain hammered against the windows while Noah sat silently in the back seat beside Lily. His clothes were soaked. Mud covered his hands, and there was blood running down the side of his face. The old man stared into the rearview mirror in absolute terror. "That's not possible," he whispered. Noah slowly lifted his eyes toward Emma. His expression looked exhausted. "Broken, Emma," he said softly. "Give me the baby." Emma immediately pulled away. "No." Lily started crying hysterically between them. Noah's face twisted with pain. "You don't understand what's happening. The woman said you stole her." Noah looked down silently for a few seconds. Then he whispered, "I was trying to save her." Lightning flashed outside the truck. For one brief second, Emma saw something horrifying. Noah had no reflection in the rearview mirror. The old man saw it too. His entire body began shaking. "Oh God." Noah slowly turned toward him and smiled. The truck doors suddenly locked by themselves. The locks clicked loudly inside the truck. Emma grabbed the door handle immediately. It wouldn't open. The old man panicked and tried the driver's side. Locked. "No," Emma whispered. Lily cried harder in the back seat while Noah remained perfectly calm beside her. Rainwater dripped slowly from his clothes onto the seat beneath him. Then Emma noticed something terrifying. The water wasn't clear. It was dark red, blood, Noah. Her voice trembled. He looked at her sadly. "I never wanted you to find out like this." Lightning flashed again. This time Emma saw it clearly. Part of Noah's face was crushed inward, like damage from a violent car accident. Emma covered her mouth in horror. "You're dead." Noah closed his eyes slowly. "For 3 years." The old man started praying under his breath. Emma's entire body shook violently. "No, I lived with you. I touched you. You were never supposed to remember the crash?" Tears filled Noah's eyes. That night changed everything. Emma's breathing became shallow. Memories suddenly exploded inside her mind. Rain, screaming tires, a truck speeding toward them. Lily crying. Noah reaching for her hand. Then impact. Emma gasped loudly. She remembered now. She had been in the car too. Noah stared at her with heartbreak in his eyes. We both died that night. The baby monitor suddenly crackled one final time. Static filled the truck. Then the woman's voice whispered softly through the speaker. Now she can come home.